All right, Dwayne, I've been yapping too long here. Let's have some stuff from you.
All right, I have to get a shout out here. The American Legion 335 in Norfolk's American Legion is going to have their annual Poppy Drive. The Wednesday of May 22nd and Saturday of May 25th. Both will be at the transfer station. Those of you who use the transfer station, you see them out there with their handful of poppies. Take a poppy from them, make a donation. That money goes to vets, local vets. It all stays here. It doesn't go to Washington. It doesn't go for any federal program. It stays here in Norfolk. And there are plenty of vets, even some non-vet people, that could use some help. As Bill could tell you with the Friends. Well,
Yeah.
there is need here in Norfolk, but buy a poppy and stick a couple of bucks in a can.
Yeah.
There's no set amount, just whatever you feel like donating.
In the words of Bucky Kaloo, all you millionaires, don't
Yeah.
embarrass us by putting $20 in the can.
Yeah,
You don't have to do that.
you don't
folks.
have to do that.
No, but Dwayne's right. Fire a couple of bucks in there and help somebody.
Even $1.
Yeah,
And then there'll be a Dunkin' Donuts too. I think it's just Dunkin' now. But,
yeah.
but you see them there, just take a poppy, but wear that poppy. That poppy is a symbol of
Exactly.
togetherness and a support.
Yep.
Now, BFW sells them or does the same thing. American Legion, I think the DAV does it. Poppy had become in the First World War a symbol of veterans.
Yep.
And then there will be a Memorial Day parade, and you'll hear more about that from this station. Again, on Memorial Day at 8 o'clock, the people will be gathering at Federated Church parking lot. They're going to march down to the cemetery. There's a memorial service, a small memorial service. Then they come back and there's a service or something, dedication on Town Hill. I think that's with all the flags and stuff. And afterwards, the Legion, again, will have refreshments available at the parking lot.
Coffee and donuts
Yep.
has been since I was a child.
Yep.
And they stopped it one year.
You know, you
Oh,
don't
they-
have,
they-
you don't have
they-
to walk down to the cemetery. Most of us vets can't walk down the cemetery anymore.
But there's always a couple of convertibles
Yeah.
that are in the parade too, to take care of the folks that have a problem walking that distance. Yeah. But it's remembering
Yeah.
the sacrifice
Yeah.
that guys
Remember,
made.
it's Memorial Day. It's something other than a sale at Macy's.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, and anybody that's interested in the American Legion, I'm going to give you a phone number and a name. Ben McCarty, he's the post commander of 335, and he's at 520-0540, and he's in the book, 520-0540. He's the post commander, and if you have any interest in joining the American Legion, it's open to all branches of the service, all different times that you are available. And they're a good group of guys. I've been with them for 12, 15 years now, I think. They're nothing pretentious. Everybody gets along, we have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we meet once a month, 10 months a year. We do not meet in July and August.
Too hot.
Yeah, we meet right at the Federated Church.
Yep. A good outfit.
Yep.
Wonderful. What else you got?
Oh, let's see. Have you noticed, well, of course, you notice the unrest on the college and universities right now, but have you noticed the students are outraged over the deaths in Gaza and all this, but have you seen one sign that said Ukraine on it? Not one sign said Ukraine. They are so concerned about the Gaza Strip. I'm not saying that that's not something that people should be concerned about. I'm saying Ukraine's been going for a couple of years.
It has.
Ukraine's fatalities
With
are
no
much,
end in sight.
Yeah, with much higher. And don't forget, almost all the Ukraine fatalities, and I'm not talking military crap, I'm talking civilian, are intentional.
Of course they are.
Now, you can't necessarily dismiss the Gaza, but those are what is generally called collateral damage. They're not picking out a group of people and shooting them.
No, they're not.
They may lose some people in an airstrike or another action. Putin, on the other hand, deliberately picks apartment buildings, schools,
Part of a terror
hospitals.
campaign.
Yep, an absolute terror campaign. But what university campus do you see the students protesting that?
By the way, the president mentioned Islamophobia
Yep.
as a real sin to be concerned about in this country. When is the last time you ever heard or saw of an Islamophobic act?
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break.
There were a few after 9/11.
Yes,
The
there were.
hotheads went around.
And how long ago was that?
Yeah.
But it
It's
wasn't an orchestrated, organized
No.
deal.
Not since Trump tried to keep them from coming in.
Yeah. Dwayne,
Yes, sir.
around the same subject, have you ever in your life
I probably did.
imagined that it would be a dangerous, could possibly be fatal mistake made by someone wearing a little yarmulke on their head?
No.
And yet they're assaulted and beaten on the streets
Yep.
by these heroic demonstrators.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's two sides, but you only see one side.
Yeah.
Now, in that vein, I have warned my granddaughter, who's at Syracuse. Now, she's the type of girl that grew up with two brothers right behind her. She's had to defend herself from day one. I mean, and she can do it. That girl is not afraid of anything. I mean, she was a soccer goalie in high school, and she's had broken arms and broken fingers and toes, and and she puts a cast on and would jump right back in. So
I didn't realize that playing dolls was that dangerous.
Oh my God, no, not with her. And I warned her, and her father warned her to stay away in Syracuse. I don't know what kind of demonstration's going on there, but you got to assume that there's something there too. Stay away, and I said stay far away. Do not even give your opinions to other people. First of all, I said, Samantha, what's your last name? It's Weiss. Weiss is a very common Jewish name. We're not Jewish, but but people don't know that. I said, you could be assaulted or hurt.
Not everyone knows the subtle difference
No.
in the change of the spelling.
There's no change.
Well, I before E, E before I.
EISS is Jewish too.
Really?
Oh, it was a Rabbi Weiss in Brockton when we lived there.
W-I-E?
W-E-I, same spelling
Oh,
as mine.
W-E-I.
That's my spelling too. That's our spelling.
Okay, yeah.
But I said, just don't be visible. Do your schoolwork, stand out with your friends. You see that mob crowd? Don't get involved.
You know what? That's good advice 24/7.
Yep.
Don't get involved.
Don't get involved because
Because
nothing can
the-
happen there.
You're right. Nothing good
could
will
come
come
out
of
that.
it.
Yep. Even if you had the righteous cause and you did it right, still, if there's violence going to pursue or come out of it, you're not going to win. You're going to lose. So I think she'll do all right because she's pretty level-headed.
Good.
In fact, she's very level-headed. Can't do with those two brothers. They were hockey players, and it was rough and tumble from the time that You know how little boys are, want to fight and wrestle. Well, she was their target usually, the older sister.
Now, they take care of her?
Yeah, more so. Like my son said, she said the middle one, he gets along with everybody. But the youngest one and Sammy, she's the oldest, they were like always oil and water. Always picking on each other, pecking at them, try to get one to do something so then they could retaliate. That's now that she's in college and they're in high school, they just calm down quite a bit.
A little different.
Yeah.
I know I had 5 sisters.
Okay.
2 separate families. We were divorced when we were kids. But I think of them all as my sisters. And one of my sisters told me that one of the other sisters was having trouble with her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
She had bruises on her, and she admitted that this guy was hitting her.
Well, I think
so. Being what big brothers are, my
Godfather movie showed what can come of that.
My brother Tommy and I said, when is she going out with him again? She said, tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, what time? Oh, he usually comes around 7 or so. I think that's what it is. I said, Tommy and I will come over and we'll have a talk with him. And
a sit down.
Yeah. Oh, it was a stand-up out in the yard.
Okay, yep.
And I told him, I said, now you listen to me. I said, Dad just put in a new garbage disposal in the sink.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy and I are going to put you down that damn thing. And don't think we won't try.
Oh, yeah.
You leave my sister alone.
The only thing some of these guys understand.
Yeah. Because we said to him, so what's going on? Oh, how are you two getting along? Oh, great, yeah. Well, how come you hitting her? Oh, I don't hit her. I said, you're not going to hit her anymore, I'll tell you that. That's what. Of course, my brother gave him a shove or something to straighten things out a little bit too. But, and you know what? He said, tell her I changed my mind, we're not going out tonight. And he ran and hopped in his car and drove off. Smart. And was never seen or heard from again.
Smart man. Not totally stupid.
Yep.
That's what that takes, is that kind of intervention.
With that kind of person.
Absolutely. They don't understand anything else.
Dwayne, I have never, ever hit a woman.
I haven't either.
Or restrained a woman, or used physicality on a woman. I would never do that. And the ones that do are cowards or social misfits.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
None whatsoever.
Now, one other thing going on, I think this has nothing to do with the previous subject, and I don't have a segue, but I think it's important that, from my point of view anyway.
Listen, on this show we talk about anything at any time.
We may not totally agree on this, because I was a strong supporter of the Second Amendment and guns. The more and more I see of some stuff that's happening, I just can't give it carte blanche anymore. There's got to be some control stuff. And first of all, the framers of the Constitution never foresaw a .223 caliber bullet or an AR. We'll just call it AR-15. They're not AR-15s, but they're anything that's got a raised front sight. The media calls AR-15. But for the purpose of discussion, let's just call them AR-15s. They shoot a .223 caliber bullet. I saw this in Vietnam when the M16 came on, because they used to be M14s.
That's why I had a 14.
Yeah, the big lunky bullet on a big lunky thing. And these M16s that came out, they looked like something Mattel would put out. They had a plastic stock and they were light, and they said, this is a toy. It was not a toy. It was superpower from what the M14 was. It shoots a small caliber bullet that's only width slightly 2/1000ths of an inch wider than a .22. But it's got a magnum charge on the end of it that kicks that thing down that barrel at supersonic speeds. It also has a characteristic that is vicious. You've seen a quarterback making a pass on a football, and it's like a nice spiral. Well, a bullet's spiral too. There's rifling inside the barrel to cause that bullet to spin, and that's what keeps it on its trajectory. The AR-15 ammunition, or .223 caliber, is slightly offset on it, and then we're only talking microscopic, so that when it hits, it's not dead on like this. It's off just a.
It wobbles.
It wobbles. Yeah, it literally wobbles a little bit in the air. So when it hits at an angle. It doesn't go in like a spear. It goes in like a saw. It tumbles and it tumbles and it tumbles and it tumbles. So consequently, as it goes through a human body, it just gets a bigger hole and bigger hole. There is something on TV right now that you can. I almost hesitate for you to go look at it, because first of all, the articles or the whole thing, the public never sees the victims of an AR-15. Law enforcement does, and maybe a few public that by accident see it. You never see somebody that's got a little hole in the front and half their back is just blown away. Back of their heads are gone. I mean, think of this, and this is terrible, but think of this as the kids that are attacked with these things. They're hideous, the attacks. If the public saw what that weapon does, they would not be saying it's my right to own one. You might have a right, but there's no reason for that. That weapon was designed by the military for the military. It was to kill people.
What is the spirit of the bayonet? To kill.
To kill.
Same thing with this.
Yep.
War is you kill your enemy.
That's right.
That's right. And the equipment has got to be the most effective equipment you can have, because your life depends on it.
But I am not one anymore to bring that kind of stuff into a civilian setting.
Well, now in a perfect world, I agree with you.
All right.
Okay. Now, some of this stuff is available in other than assault weapons.
Oh, no question.
Yeah, I mean, you can get that stuff in Glock automatic pistols.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
I mean,
now, but here's just one thing. Go to, if you're interested at all, go to the internet. Look up. I think I wrote it down here. Yeah, it's a Washington Post website. Put in Washington Post AR-15. That's all you need. It'll take you to there. There's a bunch of websites. They have got some very graphic presentations. It shows what happens in a human body when you get hit by one of these. Not only does it blow a hole, but it destroys stuff it doesn't touch. The impact is so strong, it'll destroy arteries and veins and stuff that are this far from the impact site. It just explodes in there.
The police will tell you too. When they talk rationally and not TV shows.
Right, TV shows are not.
He's hit. It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah, there's no.
You get hit in the torso with one of those things, you're going to die.
Yeah, it's going to take your arm off.
It's going to blow the rest of the entrance wound is small, and it expands and it blows out your entire back. Not entire back.
I just can't. I can't. If you're a diehard Second Amendment, you won't think that's your right. It is, but you got to look at the consequences of these things out there.
Okay, now with that said and done, Dwayne, I agree with you so far. I'm not convinced that there is any rational reason for some civilian to have an AR-15 and that ammo in his home.
Okay.
You don't need that to protect
so there's
your
no
home.
purpose.
No purpose whatsoever. Now, there's laws on the books about this kind of stuff. But, now, we had an example up in Maine. 18 people were killed.
That's right.
This guy was known to the police.
Oh, yeah, that was a terrible screw up.
Everybody knew him.
All down the line, yeah.
And the police were afraid
Yep,
to approach him.
that's right.
You think about that.
Oh, yeah.
They are the people, the guardian of the population of this country. And they were afraid of this guy. And they said, well, he's a real nutbag, and you never know. I'm just afraid of what he would do if we went and questioned him. Well, now that's really something, isn't it?
Yep. Well, that's it. As long as it's terrible to happen. The plus side, what's really terrible if we didn't learn anything from it, if we lost 18 innocent people and nothing came of it. The best that you can get out of that is to look at procedures, look at things like this so we don't do it again. But we will do it again.
Of course we will.
We will, because we tend to forget.
Absolutely.
That first 4 or 5 months, we're so aware of that. A year later, maybe a couple of years down the road, we go right back into our old habits.
I will tell you exactly what President Biden said. I agree with him totally. Give me a double-barrel shotgun in the house. I can protect my family.
That's right.
And what more do you need? You don't need a weapon of war.
No.
No. But see, here's the problem. Over here, you've got the gunners.
Yep.
Over here, you got the anti-gunners.
Yep.
The anti-gunners say, we want to outlaw this stuff. The gunners say, maybe you got a point. Maybe you're rational. Maybe you're right. But I don't trust you. Because once you get your nose under the tent, like the camel,
yeah,
you're going to stick the rest of your body in. And you're going to be coming for all of our other weapons.
That's the old NRA
Yep.
belief.
But it's true.
I'm not so sure that that's true on this particular weapon. I aren't saying taking them away. I'm saying stop manufacturing them for civilian use. There's no reason you can't. And then the other people say, well, there's so many out there already.
Oh, there are.
But there's not enough.
Oh,
If there was enough, we wouldn't they wouldn't sell anymore.
well,
they would be saturated.
These gunners are like guys with cars.
They
They gotta
keep-
have the newest and the latest update and the
Then they
fanciest.
pass out the one that they have, or they keep going, and to stop people from getting killed, innocents, kids, particularly concert goers, anything like that. You can't hardly justify with maybe this will happen, maybe they'll take some other gun away, maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Well, you know what, Dwayne? You can only believe what someone tells you.
That's right.
When the anti-gunners say, I won't be happy until I get every goddamn gun out of every man's hand in this country.
And the gunners say-
what do you take from that?
Then the gunners say, I want every damn weapon I can get my hands on, because if I shoot somebody, I want them dead.
Equilibrium.
So we're right back to the
That's right.
center again.
Yeah, yeah. See this, and by the way, we don't have rational people over here.
No,
On the
either
anti-gunner side. And there's no towering intellects
I
on
am not
the other side.
anti-gun. I've got guns. Well,
Yeah.
I had guns. I gave them away when
Yeah.
we moved out here because
Massachusetts.
well, you don't never. We got hunting here, but we don't really have hunting.
No, we don't.
Maybe out in the western
You've got
part
to
of the
get
state.
out in the western part.
Yeah.
And they hunt out there.
Yeah,
And everybody's got a gun in their house.
I have a hell of a big weapon in my house too. It's a .177 caliber, which is a BB gun.
Yep.
Crossman.
Well, let me tell you something. I believe in the Second Amendment, but I also believe in somehow we have to keep assault weapons out of the public's hands.
That was my whole.
And Dwayne, by going and taking an NRA course that says, well, he understands weapons, he can buy one. You don't know what's going on in the squash up here.
That's right.
And we are so afraid in this country of people's, oh, it's a mental health issue. You can't talk about that stuff, and you can't approach someone. And,
Did you happen to see On Patrol Live last Saturday night?
No.
They stopped, and I don't. It just happens to be two black guys in a Acura, a fancy car, and it's one of those Southern sheriff women that don't want to offend anybody. And she says to these two guys, "Is there anything in the car that I should be aware of?" They said, "No." "Are there any guns?" "No." So her partner goes, "Look." He comes out with 240s, a couple other ones, these magazines about this long, an actual drum magazine,
Those are good.
and a bag full of .40 caliber. They used to call them dum-dums.
Yeah.
Hollow point.
Hollow points. By the way, you can get those 223s with a hollow
Oh
point
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And she said, "Well, what about these?" "Oh, we just keep them for protection." I'm thinking, protection from who?
Oh, probably maybe Czechoslovakia or
An army.
being invaded by France.
You got. She'd drive around in a car with probably 300 or 400 rounds of deadly weapon, of ammunition, a half a dozen guns, some with these mag chambers on them. And she says, "Okay, just be careful with them." Honest to God, one of them, she says, "Oh, I'm going to have to take that bottle too that you got open between the seats, a bottle of Patron, and I'm going to have to dump it out." And she says to the guy, "How old are you?" 20. "How old are you?" 19. "You shouldn't be drinking because you're not 21, you know that." She finds another case in the back seat, a whole case of stuff. "Well, we have to get rid of that. Now, you boys have a good night, but don't. You can't drive. You're going to have to drive. No tickets, no warnings, no nothing."
You know,
That she should be reprimanded.
well, look, she's not going to be.
No, she was so afraid of insulting or doing anything with those two guys.
It is incredible. Dwayne, the biggest problem we have is the fact that we have laws on the books and
Yep.
we are afraid to enforce them.
I even.
Look, right here in Massachusetts, the Botley Fox.
Oh my God, that was
1 year mandatory sentence.
either
for-
nobody or one. There's a dispute which one. It doesn't matter. Ever got arrested for it?
And the judges and the cops just, nope,
No.
not going to pursue it.
Not
well,
pursue it.
not so much the cops. The cops
No.
would have.
They
but
would
the
do what they
judges made it clear
Throw it right out.
that's
And
not a crime. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
I mean, it in a perfect world, if you own an AR-15, okay, fine. It has to be kept in a licensed sporting goods store under lock and key, and or a range. A range would be better. A lock and key in these gun safes.
Yep.
You take it out under supervision, you fire it at the range, it goes back in. That's it.
Yep. Otherwise, it's going to get stolen. It's going to be used for some.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that is not an extreme position, I don't feel.
No, that wouldn't be an extreme.
You know, if somebody says, I just love to, you know, the feel of it and the target shooting and mastering that thing, and great, do it at a target range. And I'll tell you what, these target ranges would be strictly overseen in my world.
But we got to do something. These things are.
Well, but here's the problem also, Dwayne. And you masterfully told that story about those two young men. Once again, race enters into this.
Yes, it certainly does.
Because just like we have to hire a certain percentage of this group, a certain percentage of that group, this group, and well, you're showing too many black kids being arrested by these cowboy cops on Saturday night.
Exactly.
Well, there's too many of them breaking the damn law.
Yeah.
Okay, it's as simple as that.
They used to say about stopping a greater percentage of blacks would get searched. Well, they opened a car door, and in those days when marijuana was illegal, and this cloud would roll out. Well, of course you're going to get searched.
And you know, invariably, is there anything in this car that I should be aware of? No.
No. Oh, okay.
Oh, fine. Do you mind stepping out while I search the car? No search. No search.
Nope, not here.
Okay. Well, I think I have just cause. So I'm going to call for backup, and we're going to search the car. Now, do you want to tell me about what I'm going to find? Nothing. You're going to find nothing. We go through this drill, and they find illegal weapons, they find pot, they find hard drugs, meth. Well, I asked you if there was anything here, and I told you if you were honest with me, we would work with you. And not mine.
No, not mine.
Is this your car? No.
No.
Whose car is it? Joe's.
Yeah.
Who's Joe? I don't know. He lent it to me.
I think it was last Saturday night. It wasn't his car. Well, it is. I just bought it this afternoon. What do you mean you just bought it? Well, he said, this guy come up to me and said, would you like my car? Give me $200, it's yours. And the cop says, you didn't think a $30,000 car sold for you this afternoon on the street for $200 might have been a little suspicious? No? Oh, come on. These guys they're not stupid, you know. Well, I like the one is, they pull it out of their pants. What's this meth for? I don't know. What came out of your pocket? They're not my pants.
Yeah, I like that one too.
They're my pants.
Yeah.
Well, who's that? I don't know.
The other night they had one on cops, and the cop said, okay, he said, yeah, this is a rather delicate subject, but I've groped you. And you got something in your crotch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, besides your stuff, there's something else in there too.
Bag of stuff hanging in there.
Yeah.
I saw that one.
And what's this? Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
How did it get in your crotch?
I don't know.
Somebody must have put it
there. Yeah.
I mean, this is, you know, if it weren't so tragic,
Yeah.
it would be funny.
Oh yeah.
But it's not. Dwayne, you know what? I got to jump into another subject.
That's all right.
Professional jurists.
Oh, I'm
1,000% in favor of hiring well-educated,
Yep, exactly.
professional
Jurors.
people to serve on
that's the English
juries.
method.
Yep, because of those two guys you're talking about.
Yep.
About another show with a couple of other guys. Another show with a wife beater that pounded the hell out of his wife.
O.J. Simpson.
Yep, exactly.
Perfect example.
Perfect example.
Never has been that much evidence shown to come to a conclusion that the conclusion we never came to.
One of the jurists interviewed after the verdict was handed down, it was a couple of months afterwards, said, I didn't believe any of that evidence about DNA because I know DNA doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how do you know that? Well, I had a pregnancy test and it said I was pregnant and I wasn't.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I mean,
Dumb.
and they're sitting on a jury
Yeah.
with your life in their hands. And you hear an answer like that.
Have you watched any of the Karen Reed?
No,
Wait till you see that jury.
I can well imagine.
They always show the same shot of her, and right behind's the jury. There's a guy right in line with her and two women. They're always talking to each other over this guy. He sits there, honest to God, I'm not sure if he's alive. I don't think he's awake half the time.
This is wrong, Dwayne.
He probably is awake, but he
totally
doesn't look it. He
wrong.
doesn't respond to anything.
Do you realize in this country the negotiated settlements that they have, like 95% of the felonies never go to a jury. It is an agreement between the prosecutor and the defendant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's because one of the reasons is you can never trust what the hell the jury's going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, these people know that the juries are tainted, to say the least.
Nesson is carrying this case every day. But let me tell you, if you got anything else to do at this point, do it other than watch that. It is, you could open a can of paint and watch it set, or watch dew evaporate in the morning and have more excitement than you're going to get on that watching that case. It's too far. They're still laying base ground for evidence. Oh my God! Well, you walked into this bar where they were. Who was sitting on the right? Well, how many people were in there? What were their names? It has nothing basically to do with the case at all.
I don't know about you, but back when I was drinking and I went into a bar, I always counted the number of people in the bar and checked to see what color outfits they were
Oh
wearing.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Probably took a few notes so
Yeah.
you could. Yep,
Yeah.
me too.
And that's what a normal person would do, yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. There are so many things broken in this country that...
It's no wonder these guys spend $300,000, $500,000, $800,000 on attorneys when they drag these things out day after day after day. I mean, they're not even getting to, well, now they're starting to get friends of friends and stuff closer. As this trial goes on, there'll be more of a meat at the end, you know. But right now, if you got any curiosity about it and you got something else to do the something else.
Yeah, even if it's lying down and taking a nap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I tried to watch it yesterday. Monica wasn't home, and I thought, oh my God, it's just like, it's worse than watching paint dry.
I used to once in a while, out of curiosity, watch Congress in session.
Yeah, I did too.
Then I watched the British
Oh,
Parliament in action. It was a lot more fun than watching ours.
That's like watching UFC. Yelling and swearing at each other.
Each other. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, man. How about this, Dwayne? How about if we reform the colleges in this country?
How do you want to reform them?
Well, we're going to end tenure for
Oh, I agree
professors.
there. I think tenure has outlived its usefulness
We're going to
35 times.
we're going to tax the endowments.
Yeah, okay.
So we're not going to take all the money away
No,
from
no,
them.
no, no.
But listen, a 14 or a 16% endowment tax, sort of in line with what a small company would pay.
I think they should call it a tax, whatever you want to call it on your endowment. They should be assessed a fee that they should pay for their own existence. Fire
Cancel
departments,
all
police
government funding.
yeah. They want it on one hand, but don't on the other hand. It's like these kids today calling for divestment. Divest this company, divest Israel, divest Raytheon, divest Dow Chemical, divest this. Well, chances are you're getting student aid
From them.
through taxpayers. You're getting money that you want from the very companies that you want the universities to divest from. Who do you think that's going to pay the bills? The tulip growers of America aren't going to pay that. The Kumbaya singers aren't going to pay that.
Taylor Swift's not going to pay it.
No, that's right. So the money that you're gladly accepting is the same money that you want divested.
Yeah. Yeah.
But see, they don't see that.
They don't understand.
They don't
it,
understand
Dwayne,
it either.
because they don't want to understand it. They are. There's so many of these demonstrators on campus that are professional demonstrators.
Oh, you could see that.
Yep.
How fast did that Palestinian issue spread across the country? And it spread the same way into their quads, whatever tents showed up. Number two, the tents was pointed out on Muir, first time, the guy on ABC. He said, did you notice that the tents are almost all the same brand? And they retail about $500 to $600 a piece. Where did all those kids get all that money for those tents? Across the country, they're just popped up like little
Every
eagles.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody else pointed out that the signs. He said you would expect a piece of cardboard and a shoe dabber, right? Down with
Up.
or up with Palestine.
Up with down, down
Yeah.
with up.
But
Yeah.
oh no, the signs showed up professionally made within hours across the country.
Yeah.
Nobody's that organized.
No. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And these kids, it's a thrill to be doing this. I would willing to bet that if you take 20 of them out and ask them questions about what their really issue is, they couldn't even tell you about anything about it. They
Explain to me the plight of the Palestinians. How did they end up with
yeah.
that?
How'd they come to
Tell
be?
us the background.
They have no idea.
No, they'd call you a miserable pig and walk away.
They
from
couldn't have point where Palestine was on a map.
you. Yeah. Oh, that's another good one too. People ranting and raving about stuff. Well, show it to me on the map. Whereabouts is that? They couldn't find
They can't
it.
do it. They don't know because it's just something that they want to do. There's an excitement to it. There's they think they're doing something, and they're really not. In fact, it's counterproductive.
I heard a show on TV, one of these things, interviewing people in the street. You know, what first thing, well, this was quite a while ago, but when Russia invaded Ukraine, and the talking head said, well, you realize in that part of the world, there's a bit of volatile nature, the people, blah, 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 blah. Some long-winded question. And the guy said, yeah, well, that always happens over there. And she said, she got him. She said, well, exactly where is over there? And he said, over there. And he just walked away.
I've seen that too, where they'll just say, that. No, that's it. I'm going.
Yeah. But you know what, Dwayne? Again, it's the educational system in this country that is failing us. I've got to tell you, I'm like a broken record. But you know what? If you can't read, you can't be educated.
No, of course not.
You open a book and you're opening knowledge. If you leave the book closed, that's the end of the story.
But the protest stuff, so far it's been pretty much confined to campus.
Yeah.
When it gets out on the street,
Yep.
and anytime you got any kind of demonstration and there is looting happening, that demonstration loses its cause. The cause is no longer what they're doing. They are just thugs, thieves. That's all they are, taking advantage of the situation.
Do you remember years ago?
Not much, but go ahead.
They shot looters?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe we ought to go back to that. I mean, a man's property is his property.
That's right.
And if you come and steal from him, but not in this country, or not in this state. I loved our governor.
Which one?
Yeah, our current governor.
Healy.
She, when she was Attorney General,
Yeah.
when they were talking about guns. And she said, you need to keep your gun under lock and key. It must be kept in a safe container and all of this. So someone said, well, if you're being threatened by someone in your house, what the hell good does a locked up gun do? She says, at that point, you run away.
Yeah, that's the Massachusetts thinking, is that you run, crawl out the window and leave.
We don't need self-help in the policing here in Massachusetts.
I don't buy that either. Okay. That these demonstrations and riots. Now, I know things change, and I'm old, but I was involved not as a participant, but on the other side, in 1968 when the Martin Luther King was assassinated. I was in the Army. I was a counterintelligence officer. I went to get a haircut. I sat down on the barber's chair in the neighborhood, and they got the radio on. And this was Youngstown, Ohio. And this is Liberty Township, but it's near it. And they're telling about how the gangs now are, these black gangs were starting to form, and they're burning cars and smashing windows and everything. I said, oh my God. I got home, I walked in the door, and Monica says, the mayor's office is calling for you. I said, I thought so. I said, I'll see you God knows when. And I walked into that, or they want to see you in the police chief's office, the mayor and somebody else. So see, I was listed as the military representative for that county. And that's the only thing that they had for a name for anybody military. And we were in the phone book, actually. And I walk in, and the mayor says, I want the National Guard. I said, well, I can't get you in there. Well, aren't you? Yeah, he says, well, That's a state troop. I said, that's not nothing to do with me, with the federal at all. I said, you want the state National Guard, you got to call the governor. Oh. It's like, how do I, he didn't say that, but he looked at me like, well, how do I, I'm not the mayor here, for Christ's sake. And so they finally got that going. But day after it went, and they would go from, I don't think the second day they knew what they were protesting for. They were just to break windows and get in and rob stuff out of stores and set a few cars on fire and then dance around and have like a bonfire. It became a big party, a violent smash and grab party. And I'll tell you, they took a great risk because that Youngstown Police Department, these weren't the days when they were afraid to shoot somebody. They would shoot you. And I know they had threatened that, they threatened the police department the second night that they were coming down, they're going to burn City Hall, they were going to burn the police department. And the reaction was, the whole roof was full of snipers. Let them come.
Well,
they would have shot them.
And they would have been justified in doing it. You cannot allow terrorists to run your country for you. Can't do it.
Didn't scare them.
Well, you know what? That's awful. I mean, this guy that they killed, he had a wife and 2 kids. Why the hell wasn't he home with them?
Youngstown Police Department was experienced handling unions and stopped Gate Number 5 war a few years before that, when the United Steelworkers and the non-union got in a battle and 13, 15 people got killed. That was nothing new for them to have civil unrest.
So
that was a tough town.
Yeah. Oh.
You don't hear about it anymore, but there used to be a lot of gang or mafia blowing up people's cars.
It's still a tough town.
Oh, I'm sure there's still remnants of that.
Tiger does not lose its stripes.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
You know what happens when you shave a tiger? What happens to his stripes?
Oh, they grow back.
Well, actually, I posed the question poorly. When you shave a tiger, there's stripes on his body.
Yeah.
On his skin, in his skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anywho, I am surprised more people haven't been hurt. And this is, to me, is a shameful period in our history where we are doing this to our fellow citizens, the Jewish people, singling them out to be terrorized. This is how Nazi Germany began.
That's right. Absolutely.
Riots in the streets by the brown shirts. All right? They didn't have television. They didn't have radio.
Nope.
So what they did was they gathered on street corners at night to yell, make speeches, hate speeches and all of that. And they usually ended up in brawls. Boy, tell me something. Is it any different than what's going on in campus?
No, they just don't use axe handles anymore.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to hit you.
With my purse.
That's right. 5, huh?
5. You got 5 minutes worth of something?
Oh, I got more than that if you want.
Sure.
I started out kind of kidding around with this MBTA housing law. They sponsored that housing law. But the more I look at it and the more I read about it, I think these towns should give some pushback. How can you have the audacity to come into a town and tell them, because you've got a train station, you're going to change your zoning?
We had no business. We had nothing to do with citing the train station.
That's right.
There.
And even if you were a neighbor town, they got to fall by it too. By what right does, in this case, it's state. I don't care who you call it, who's sponsoring the bill, and it's really not sponsored by the MBTA. It's sponsored by. That's where it's really getting foggy. Who is behind this bill? They call it the MBTA Communities Act, but that's a easy front because they're using the MBTA as a trigger or a guide. But who are you, state of Massachusetts and whoever, to tell individual towns, you're going to do this with your housing, you're going to do that with your housing? We fought a war back in 1776 over this kind of stuff. And it's no different.
Yep.
They,
There's actually one of the articles of the Constitution that prohibits a foreign power from putting their troops in people's homes.
that's right.
You're absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. And not only that, Dwayne, but supposing a town, in its wisdom, was adhering to their growth plan
Yep, exactly.
and doing things in a certain fashion, to have the state come in and say, whoops, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, rip those homes down, bulldoze them, and we're going to put in multiple units of apartments.
That's right.
Yeah. That's great, huh?
Yeah, if a town doesn't want affordable housing, then they don't want affordable housing. I would need affordable housing, but I'm not going to say to that town, you got to build a place for me. I wouldn't want to live there if it was all schnoots, all these people walking around with their nose in the air. Somebody else can live there. I don't care who lives there. But for somebody to tell you as a town, to tell Norfolk now, we've got to do this and we have to do that, that's not. I don't buy that stuff. I don't like that, and I'm not a big civil rights type person at all.
No.
If you don't like it, don't live there.
Yeah. If you don't like it,
move. That's right.
Yeah. Your ass isn't nailed to the chair.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. By the way, interesting. Identity hires. Someone made a point that insider, supposedly, in the Biden administration says, yeah, we're stuck with Jean-Pierre and Kamala Harris. We had to have them at the time we hired them, but now we're trapped because they're both black, they're both females,
Yep.
and if we can them now, because both of them are, neither one of them is effective, then, oh God, Biden's going to lose votes.
Watch between the next couple of weeks, the white male is an idiot on the commercials.
Oh,
It's back again. Again, really, really strong. That idiot that they're wheeling him out of his house and he tried to take his own appendix out. Oh my God. And the wife stands there. I told you. Okay. He wants
That's it?
That's it. He says, you're out of here.
All right, one more thing.
Been
before
kicked
we
out
go.
of better places.
How about the ad? Are you a CFP?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Thank you. We'll expound on that next week or the week after. And our director has just committed Harry Carey. He said, nope, I'm not working with you guys anymore.
Just remember,
So that's it. We'll have to wind it up.
get a poppy.
Yeah. Folks, see you later.